All right, guys, here we're to talk about Season 5, Episode 30 of The Twilight Zone.
I believe this is a famous episode.
Do
you agree? Would you agree? Do you think... I think I saw a sizzle reel one time of that big stupid hand in like the shadow or whatever. But otherwise, I don't think that I remembered this one. I'm not sure.
I don't know if it was memory per se, but I knew immediately what it was.
Me too.
So I was like...
I was going to say the exact same thing. When he pulls the phone off, off the wall, I was like, Dollhouse. And then they have the drawers. Then it's the fridge. And it's like, it's prop food. And I was like, I said Dollhouse. Did you not hear me? And then like a girl laughs from like a bomb. Like, they're in a dollhouse. I did not remember though that it's an alien dollhouse.
I didn't remember the train, so I didn't say like train table, but I said play table. I was like, oh, they're on like a play table.
Well, once they leave the house, I was like, oh, it's more than just one dollhouse. It's a whole doll village.
But aside from like it's actually fairly creepy. Like it has a decent premise.
The performances I thought were good, especially hers. I liked the whole because they're doing this weird relationship thing at the same time as they're doing their other thing, which I thought was really good. I like when there's a story. I like a small number of characters and an actual little conflicting story where they're constantly like she's emotional and he's like, honey, calm down. And then he's like, was this some kind of joke? Like he's like freaking out and running around, and then she's like, oh, it's my fault. It's fine. And they're doing this weird back and forth. It was really, really cool.
No, it all made sense. There's certainly some issues because of the time it was filmed. So like that, like their green screening of like when she goes to grab, I'm like, okay, passable. When it freeze frames and they're moving on her still hand, not as good. No, but again, part of its time, they probably hadn't seen a lot of this, so it was probably still impressive then.
Yeah, I was gonna say this was probably really cool at the time, right?
I like the episode. I think the acting and like the overarching the idea until you get to the end really it's like it's pretty cool. Like you walk in, you're like, okay, what the hell are this? Is fake. This is fake. That's fake. What's happening? And like how they're freaking out. You know it's aliens because they're like something a shadow came over our car. And like
putting that at the beginning though, and then not referencing it again could have been like really effective. I think there was one more mention of it, and I think having the girls' laughter like ruins the whole thing for me. I feel like had they just left it dry and quiet and like weird, because why is the girl laughing? Is she playing with some other toy? This room seems dead. It's very like dumb.
I think she's a sociopath and she's watching them freak out.
And she's just so happy or whatever.
I didn't hate the girl laughing. I think if they would have cut out any memory at all, I think if they wouldn't have, because yes, she says there was some shadow, and then she does rehash it later. It's like, do you remember anything else? I just remember, blah, I must have hit a tree. We're dead, Richard. I think we're dead.
Both of those things do the same thing though, which is like remind me to think about what's behind all this.
No, I would pull them out completely.
Yeah, the best Twilight Zone episodes, you are just in the moment and you are just like, what is going on? Like, what is happening with this person? Is this dummy really talking or not? Like, like you're just in the moment.
Questions asked because it's been like, okay, so how did we get into this bed in the first place? Yeah. Okay, where's our car? Where's anything?
His thing of like, somebody probably just put us to bed here and expected us to sleep, and I think I smell the bacon sizzling downstairs. Like his crazy optimistic insanity.
Well, because it's not, this is a different time, too.
Yes, it was.
Like, that probably happened. They probably woke up a couple times in random person's houses. But it's the weirdness of, like, we're just going to hop on this car, or this train, and leave. And, like that car is very expensive,
I freaking out at this point.
And you're just leaving it like it's nothing. And I'm like, that's a little weird. Yeah. I don't know if that's what I would have done. But I did like the episode. I thought, especially compared to some other recent episodes, I'm like, okay, at least there's something. I was vested. I was like, what's happening?
It was like a middle of the grounder for me.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't, because the ending, it's not a spectacular episode.
The ending, and then Rod Serling has the audacity to come in and say, I believe he literally says the moral is clear. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, don't drink and drive or you'll end up with the alien.
Right, don't drive, not even your tipsy wife, or else you'll end up in an alien ant farm. And I'm like, what the classic fable about how if you drink and drive. Yeah,
I've heard that.
It's insane.
They
it's so
dance
insane.
Around saying drunk. Like so hard, but they mentioned hell in this episode, and only like one or two other episodes.
Well, I backed off on that, because there was one where they say the other place a lot, and I thought I'd seen like a documentary about how you weren't allowed to see it.
Probably in the 50s that was true. This is the 60s now.
But we've been hearing hell here and there. So,
but never in the first season.
maybe not in the first season, but like it's come up enough since then of like the actual devil or like actual hell that I'm like, okay, so that was just like a leftover of like a previous time maybe.
No, yeah,
I think
laws changed. I think they're like, we're the 60s now, independent women.
Standards and conventions have changed and all that stuff. But yeah, she says like, we're dead. And all
but a little like, I was a little tight last night. I was blah, blah, I was tired. Like not saying I was drunk driving.
Sleepy. Yeah. And she's like, let's just say unable to drive. All that stuff, yeah.
I like when they first get out of bed and he's like, oh, I didn't realize you were that, whatever word she used. And then like when she takes the blanket off and realizes she's fully dressed, even has her heels still on, she's like, what the hell?
That bothers me too. I know it shouldn't, but like something about this episode made me very like nitpicky or something like that, where I'm like, you know if you're wearing shoes before I can see if you're wearing shoes. What's going on?
I think how drunk you've been in the past, and you might not realize, like, you ever wake up and you're like, where the fuck am I? Kind of like how they did.
Yes. But if I was wearing shoes, I'd be like, I'm wearing shoes? I wouldn't have to like lift up the covers and see my shoes to know that I was wearing shoes.
They were very comfortable high
heels. Especially heels. Yeah,
very comfortable.
I'm not going to like dock it for that though or whatever. Just like, yeah, super weird. I don't think it holds up to like scrutiny or anything like that. And like, sometimes I've said Twilight Zones are like morality tales, but I use that very loosely, and not everyone is. Just the audacity, the sheer gall of Rod Serling to come in and be like, it just goes to show, and I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Earlier this year, Rod got into a drunk driving accident, and he was actually forced to say this at the end of the episode.
Yes.
That's not true.
They were like, make more anti-drunk driving things and don't do anything interesting. Just shove in an alien thing. And I'm like,
I would have liked her not to look like a little girl. I think it would have been cool if she even had one of the bad third eye or anything.
Just something. So like you get the thing.
Because these are just gigantic humanoids. And think about what size the shadow must have been for that spacecraft that's the size of like Earth.
Well, that's what I mean. Nothing holds up. Why is the town full of like props and stuff? They took people from Earth. Why wouldn't they just take other things from Earth? The car looked like a car, but they like removed the engine of this tiny car. We don't want the little humans driving around their town.
That would make sense. Well, we want them to escape.
But it's clearly not like a real thing. It's all fake. So like, what is it? That's what I mean. Like you can't start going into like the particulars
of this. It's made a decoupage or whatever he says.
Paper mache. Yes. And that was a whole other thing, like sets it on fire or something like that.
Yeah.
And that, like, some of that's cool. You get like Beetlejuice vibes of like the fake tree and the weird, like, what is this place? We're just tiny here or something like that. But I would have liked it more if you were trapped in this tight, like, crazy, I don't understand this. There's no clues. And then it just like swiped you just broadly, just out of nowhere at the end.
I think this could be turned into a really good movie.
Yeah.
I think if you like grab all the tropey characters and they all wake up like, where the hell are we?
Identity.
And then and it's just slowly like what the fuck? Paper mache. The trees are fake. Everything's fake.
Yeah.
There's no food here. We're gonna die. And like
that too. There was no mention of like
I'm sure there was like a little pellets in the corner and like one of those little drinking like hamster bottles.
Yeah. I would have loved that though. Something so alien, but like later you can look back and be like, oh, like you put grass in like a jar and be like, he'll be happy now, or some dumb thing, just weird stuff. But this
that Mitch Hedberg joke, I put in some leaves and a twig and some air holes. He said, damn sure is used to air.
Yes, stuff he's used to. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have that. It's very weird to me.
It's kind of a worse version of the Human Zoo episode.
Yes. Yeah. No, I literally thought of that episode because when they're in like the fake apartment, that might be the same fake apartment. Somehow they just have that set of like a fake apartment. But yeah, like it's the exact same.
I think Human Zoo better ending. I think this had a better beginning.
Yeah, no, those actors were good and like the setup's good and it's weird and I got some cool vibes from it. By the end, I'm just like, okay. And it makes me be like, is this one of the famous ones? Because if you're like, think about the Twilight Zone, I would think about this big stupid hand like grabbing them or like whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's very like striking and marketable and big or whatever. But as an episode, it lacks that like, I'm not walking around afterwards like, I have so much to think about now, right? It's just
All right, guys, that's this episode of Twilight Zone. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.